So we've already talked about boners.
That's been covered.
We should have started recording when the Viagra talk came up. I wish I'd been screen recording. Screen recording.
It does feel a little like today is scream recording.
Yeah, scream recording. Yeah, because we started talking and instantly started screaming at each other. So
not at each other. We were screaming about things to each other. Yeah, we weren't like, fuck you. You're like, some fucking hiatus, Emily.
I think people know where we went though, because we did have a pretty detailed discussion in our Halloween episode, like to say that like we couldn't do an episode 50. I couldn't do an episode 50 without you, so we were just waiting for Emily to be available.
Yeah.
Because she has not been.
I have not been, like even slightly, which is so upsetting.
Emotionally, mentally, physically.
I'm not available to like anyone. Pretty much my children.
Apart from her children.
Yeah, not even my husband. That's okay. I'm not even available to him. I'm like, listen, I don't have time for you right now.
Can you dress yourself and feed yourself? Then I don't care.
Basically.
Unless you need me to do that.
Are you incompetent?
God, imagine there are women out there whose husbands are like that. They can't like make themselves food or anything.
Oh yeah, like all those women who will post their videos like making my blue collar husband his lunch for the day. And they pack him like 8 sandwiches and like all this stuff. And then I'm just like, what is... Are you married to a lumberjack?
My favorite offshoot of that was somebody was doing it for their kid in elementary school. And it's very clearly like just like an Amazon storefront thing to show all of the little like, you know, lunch pail things that you can add in.
Yeah.
Like just to sell you this shit. But like all the comments will be like, is your 6-year-old ready for a shift down the mines? Like, what is happening? Yeah, but some of them are like genuinely like, I'm packing for my husband, and it's...
Yeah, they like set on his clothes and everything, and I'm just like, if your husband cannot go in like the dresser or the closet and grab his own clothes, I understand sometimes if you want to be the type of person who's like, well, I'm home and I can pack the food and do that stuff because, you know, there is an element of like, if you're a stay-at-home parent and the other person is going to work, like, yeah, just doing some like nice things for them. As long as they're doing nice things for you as well.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, doing the
but I've seen ones that like getting up at 4 a.m. to make my husband lunch.
Yeah.
You're like, A, do it the night before. What are you doing? Why are you getting up at 4 a.m. for this? And B, I would have to, the house would literally have to be on fire for me to get up at 4 a.m. for anything short of that. Like, you know, for somebody who can take care of themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, like sometimes I'll be like, I put
that's...
like some leftovers in a container for you to bring to work. That's about as far as I'm going.
Yeah. What do you mean you're not getting up at 4 a.m. to wear a sundress and pack your husband's lunch pail?
And they all look just so exhausted.
And he's always having like steak, and then like basically every meal that they're packing for them has like 4 courses.
Yeah, it'll be like that's what I'm saying, and it's so much food, and it's crazy because then you just see this pudgy little man with like a red face, and I'm just like, maybe cut back on the ding dongs and Twinkies.
Yeah,
you didn't need to pack him a whole box.
Yeah, maybe he didn't need like an entire like kilogram of nuts like put into a little Tupperware box for him.
Well, yeah, there was this one woman. It was like everything she packed was just like a super high like fat and cholesterol. Like, you know, I know.
Oh, maybe she's trying to get rid of him.
That's the plan. No, but like because you and David will do where you're like, you'll send like recipes to me where it's like, let's make some cracked chicken. And it's like a pound of cheddar cheese, a pound of cream cheese, a pound of like...
Is it even like an American Midwest recipe if there isn't like I don't know, a shoebox worth of cheese, like, is the first ingredient. And they'll just put it in a slow cooker.
Yeah.
And you're like, where do you even get that much cheese?
Yeah.
And it's like a block.
But it was like she was making stuff like that for him for lunch. She's like, I made him a chicken salad. Yeah, it has an entire container of mayo and cream cheese in it. And I'm like, this is not... You're clogging his arteries, like, very quickly.
Yeah, he's gone off the road on his way home. Like, he's having a full heart attack. A medical event.
Yeah. So yeah, that's...
This is actually very relevant to what we're talking about today for this episode, isn't it? The whole...
Are they divining their husband's demise?
Yeah, they're living in their divine feminine. Or
so funny.
They're being like...
a good housewife.
Nurturing. Yeah, they're nurturing the plaque in his arteries.
Oh my gosh.
With mayonnaise.
And I'm like...
and jelly for some reason.
Yeah, I'm like, listen, I get it. I love mayo.
Yeah, me too.
But I also know that I'm not supposed to just, like, eat a cup of it a day.
Yeah. I actually just remembered when we were talking about Kewpie mayo, and you were like, what is this? And I was like, do you like mayo? And you were like, yes.
Yeah.
I was like, this woman feels the same way about mayo as I do.
I have a friend who's an artist, and she did like a little drawing of like her hugging like a jar of mayo.
Oh, cute.
And I was like, yes.
I think Kewpie, I don't know which came first, but you know the Kewpie art style? Yeah. The Japanese, that's like on their packaging. So I don't know which came first.
Like the little like
I don't
doll
know
or the...
Yeah, the little chubby baby. Who knows? It's above my pay grade. Welcome to Rowan and Pine.
Yeah, welcome. Hi.
That was 8 minutes of bullshit.
It's yeah. I mean, Neve and I haven't recorded together in months, so we're just little chickens.
Yeah,
in the hen house,
we're
like
just cheeping.
Yeah.
I know chirping is like when you talk shit to somebody.
I haven't heard it as like talking shit, but I've like kind of like chatter, just like dee, 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 dee.
Yeah. Because, like, I would say if somebody's happy, you would say they're chirpy. Like, oh, you're chirpy today. And I said it to somebody when I lived in Canada, and they were like, whoa, like, kind of, not offended, but they were like, whoa, like, what did I say? And that's when I figured out that when you chirp at somebody, I think it's like a hockey thing.
Oh.
It's like when you talk shit. Like, it's trash talk.
Interesting.
And I was like, oh, no, like, I wasn't saying that, like, they thought I was, like, being passive-aggressive. I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah, it's so weird how, like, you can all speak English, but there's just some words that are like, oh, yeah, we don't say that.
Yeah.
Oh, oops, sorry.
I just wasn't sure if it was because of the way Minnesota is basically spiritually Canadian.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it had transferred or translated down there either.
I don't think so, because I don't recall anybody ever really using that. So yeah, hi, I'm Emily.
And I am Neve. And yeah, this is Rowan and Pine. We are a feminist, folklore, mythology, and dark history podcast. That keeps getting longer the more we go on. And hopefully, like, the idea is now that this episode 50, ta-da! Can't believe we made it 50 main episodes. After this one, I can sub in a few guests again, because I just didn't want to do episode 50 without Emily. I'm sure you can understand why.
I feel like you and Megan, like, were great. But I guess I don't know behind the scenes. But listening to it, it seemed very, like...
Yeah, like, that rapport just comes from us being friends for, like, so long. Like, I've known Megan since she was 15, and I was, like, 17. So yeah, like, we've known each other for so long. So I think that's where that came from. So, like, that was great. And it was great that she did want to be involved and all of that. But it was also like setting up microphones. And that's something different for me too. Because normally Emily and I just record our own audio tracks. Yeah. But like, yeah, trying to figure that out, which was why the audio is a little bit janky in Megan's episodes. But I'm still learning. So, what are we talking about today, Emily?
We are talking about... divination and the divine feminine.
Yes. This sort of snowballed. It was one of those things, let's talk about this, but also talk about this. And then it turned into, let's talk about it together.
Yeah.
Because we're angry. And we're pissed off at the co-opting of things, and we want to set the record straight.
Right. And it was really interesting how it kind of came together to me, because we were talking about bibliomancy, and then just kind of like, oh yeah, let's make like a short, like cute little episode, and then talk about this other thing that like pissed us off. And then it was like, wait, this all kind of ties together, which was perfect.
Yes, because if anybody is alive in the world or conscious right now, they know that like there is a lot of talk about gender norms and the quote-unquote nuclear family and gender roles and being comfortable in your femininity or your masculinity, and there's the manosphere, and then, as some have said, the womanosphere. So those have really cropped up, but one thing that we keep seeing coming up in those circles is talking about your divine feminine, which for Emily and I, because we have an interest in goddesses and mythology and folklore and all of that, it's hard to see those words being bandied about when it's sort of anti-feminist the way that people have been using them. And that's really fucking annoying.
Right. They're painting it as this sort of like painting your nails pink and wearing a silk robe and being sparkly, and it's just so gross. I'm like, I hate it. I hate it all, because to me, especially after having kids, and I hate that I'm so annoying, because I'm like, all I talk about now is like motherhood and children, but that's basically the center of my life right now.
Well, it's a huge part of your life, so.
But yeah, like the divine feminine to me is kind of like mama bear energy, and that idea of, I don't know, I get so mad when it's typically men. They'll be like, oh, like women are so angry and blah 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 blah, and it's just like, yeah, well, other men aren't really working very hard to protect the children, so what the fuck are we supposed to do? And even in my life with my kids, sometimes it's just like, I have to really think about something. I'm like, are my kids actually in danger, or is this like a perceived danger? Because that kind of like mama bear instinct comes on really quickly, you know, like you think somebody's mistreating your child just because they might not be treating them the way that you're like treating them or want to treat them.
Yeah, like your child is the most important child on the planet to you, but that's because that's how it's supposed to be. But they're also just another child. Like there are so many other millions of other children on the planet
I'm
too.
kind of like tangenty and like all over the place right now. But the divine feminine is like, it's power, it's nurturing, it is kindness, and it is taking care of people that you love and care about, and even people that you don't. And it's not necessarily like cute and fun. Like I tell people that giving birth is like one of the most metal things I've ever done. Is there's so much blood, so much pain.
It's violence. Yeah. Like it is violence, you know?
It is super intense, and recovering is intense.
I do think it's no coincidence that there has been a rise of this stuff with a rise of the far right, of the manosphere, which for anybody who's unaware, it's these predominantly white men who make their living off being super misogynist and trying to encourage young men to return to old patriarchal values, to reject feminism, to reject equality, to become the authoritative presence in their life where women in their lives have to ask them permission to do X, Y, Z. And I think this is definitely an offshoot of that, because the whole idea of how this has been twisted, divine femininity has been twisted to be demure and to be placating and to defer to your husband. And it's all very 1950s conservative, no right to vote, no right to a bank account, no right to own property, all of that bullshit. That exactly. Where when women used to be viewed as chattel, which is literally the same legal category as farm animals.
It's terrible.
And as, any of that, like women were legally defined as a similar category as those things. So the fact that all of this bullshit is rising up again, and that there are women who are taking part in their own dehumanization is just absolutely fucking insane to me. That's why we thought we would do a little bit of talking about what divine femininity is, and how you can interpret it in a way that is not giving up the actual real world power that you have, and not dehumanizing yourself and reducing your rights to something that's afforded to you rather than something that you literally have a right to.
Yeah. And it brings up for me, first off, I don't understand why somebody would want to be treated the same as cattle or property. Kind of like in the US, if somebody kills your dog, they treat it as if somebody like ruined your property. You're a whole ass person. Like, why do you want to be treated like that? I can understand. And I've had this conversation with friends because I'm a stay-at-home mom. And like, I took my husband's last name, which all of these things kind of are like tradwifey. But at the same time, I'm like, these things were my choice. He didn't tell me you have to stay at home. We didn't have when we did have a conversation about name changing, he was like, you can do whatever you want. I really don't care. Change your name.
Yeah, you don't said the same
change
to
your
me.
name. Whatever. Like, I don't care. And yeah, like staying home with the kids, it was kind of like, do you think we could do this? Like, if you go to work and I stay home with the kids, because that's kind of more something I've wanted. I've wanted to be the main caregiver for my kids. I've wanted to have, because I was like we went to daycare, we were like the latchkey kids, and not that there's any one right way, but I just kind of wanted for my kids to like have their parents a little more present. And yeah, not like shaming my parents for anything. They had to work. But
yeah, like you had the opportunity to not have to work or not work. So like you took that opportunity. Like it was an opportunity. It wasn't like something that was forced upon you.
And we're not living like lavishly or anything like that. Like we're not just getting by either, but there are sacrifices to the choices that we've made. I'm staying home with the kids, which means we don't really get to go on like a bunch of fun vacations and do a bunch of like crazy stuff. But these are the choices we made together. I never was told.
And also, there are a lot of women in your position that financially, it's more financially responsible for them to stay home with their kids than work and pay daycare, because for a lot of them, like it happens here in Ireland too. It's not a US only thing. A woman could go back to work after having a kid, enroll them in, a daycare or play school, and they figure out after looking at the finances that, wow, her entire salary is paying for that daycare.
Which is like, so why am I working if I could just be home?
So I'm working and I'm no financially better off, and I'm also not seeing my kids.
Yeah, and that's kind of, I didn't really have like a super solid career when we did start having kids, so it's kind of like, just be at home with them and take care of them and stuff like that, and that's what feminism is. Feminism is being able to have a choice. You can still be a tradwife if you want to be a tradwife, but don't be forced into that position, and don't have your rights taken away to be in that position.
And I mean, like, choice feminism is, it's the understanding that I've always had of feminism and of living as a feminist, but at the same time, some women make shit choices, but they should also have that choice, and their choices should not affect other women's choices. And that is the issue.
Yeah, if you want to be treated like dirt and property, you fucking go for it, Ashley. But don't make the rest of us suffer for it. Trying to tell us we can't vote anymore if we took our husband's names. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. So I wanted to do a little bit of digging around, and I had sent Emily a Substack article that was basically getting at exactly the things that we were ranting to each other about. And I just want to get the author's name because she just hits the absolute nail on the head. Is it Helena Eberly?
Yeah, I was like, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Her last name is Aeberli.
Yes, and she has a Substack article called The Modern Myth of the Divine Feminine. Helena Eberly writes, side-by-side lists compare the attributes of the divine feminine and divine masculine. Quote, intuitive, empathetic, expressive reads one list of divine feminine attributes, whilst the masculine counterpart includes logical, task-oriented, and action-based. Divine femininity is supposed to be gender neutral, a way of balancing patriarchal and traditionally female attributes within oneself for spiritual gains, but everything about it reasserts conventional, conservative gender roles in a shareable new form for the aesthetically inclined. Quote, yielding, open, receptive, vulnerable, continues the feminine list, its cursive captions and soft pink background blending palatably into my Instagram feed, whilst rigid, initiating, active, and dominating read the male equivalents. If the divine feminine is meant to be empowering, I don't know who for. Taken in isolation from the other attributes in the infographic, it reads more like a pastel-hued Andrew Tate post. I think that just really hits the nail on the head of like what's really annoyed about it. Like all these feminine attributes of like expressing love and your intuition and all of that, that's all beautiful. But it's also sort of acting like if you completely lean into your divine feminine, you can't have these male characteristics of being like task-oriented and active or being assertive and all of that. Like you actually can be both of these things, and divine feminine is just finding the balance within yourself. It's not that you have to be one or the other, you know? It's so gender normative and bioessentialist, and it's just it's such a narrow idea of what like femininity is.
Yeah, and this reminds me of just how a lot of people have been talking about the invisible labor. And it's like, if you truly think that men are the head of the household, you're fucking wrong.
It's like the whole alpha thing, that alpha is like alpha wolves. It was bullshit. Like it was only studied on wolves in captivity, and they figured out that like the quote unquote alpha wolves are actually nurturing and they take care of their pack, you know, out in the wild.
Yeah,
you know?
It's like, if you really want to say that you're like an alpha male and you're the head of the household, I want you being the one making the doctor's appointments for the kids and enrolling them in classes and making grocery lists and going to the grocery store and meal planning. And if you want to talk about somebody who's, what was it that you just said from that list? Like task oriented or something like that?
Task oriented? Yeah. Like that's a male thing?
Right. I'm like, no. Because
yeah.
So many of these men just go to work and then it's like, okay, now you take care of the rest. I did the thing. I made the money. I'm like, okay, how many tasks are you completing?
And not actively participating in their home life. It's just like, this is just where I go when I want to be fed and have my ass wiped or whatever the fuck they're doing.
I just saw this thing where there's like a husband and wife, so, you know, just a heterosexual couple. And she was trying to explain the invisible labor to her husband, and he wasn't fully understanding it. And he was doing the whole, well, yeah, I can do those things, just tell me what to do. And then so she like wrote out,
just make a list.
She wrote out all the stuff that she's constantly keeping track of. Birthdays, you know, getting people cards, getting the kids to go to other people's birthday parties, and then the food and the just all the stuff. What day is bath time? Or what day is like the kids need a bath?
People's likes and dislikes. The food they like, the food that you can't have, the food they should be eating.
And she was like, how often do you think about all of these things? And then she was like, yeah, once he saw everything that I think about written out, everything changed.
I don't want to make a fucking list.
Even we've had to have that conversation because of, I feel like I haven't really been on here in so long. My son, he has like food allergies that we found out about in like October, I think. So he can't have like peanuts, he can't have tree nuts, he can't have legumes, which is peas, beans, all of those things. which sucks when you're when you're a child who's half Mexican and half the Mexican diet is pinto beans.
Oh my God, yeah.
But so that's been really hard, and it's been a struggle because we didn't find out about all the allergies all at once. And then we had an incident where it was literally the day we found out he was like allergic to peanuts. And then my husband, I'm not trying to like trash talk him at all, but he just like, he gave our daughter peanut M&Ms like that evening. Yeah. And I flipped out. And I was like, why did you do that? And he's like, well, she wanted them. Like, you could tell her no. Like, we just found out about this. He doesn't have an EpiPen yet. And I kind of just like flipped out. And we had a conversation where I was like, listen, I know that I'm kind of like the main caregiver and I stay home with them. But this is our child's life on the line. I need you to be just as vigilant about this as I am. This can't be one of those things where it's like, oh, Emily's like keeping track of it.
Like I even see that like with my own parents. Like my dad he has dialysis because he's in like kidney failure and he has dialysis, and it's my mum that knows all of the things that he can't have.
And like the medications and all of those things, and probably his appointment schedule.
Yep. So I'll be bringing something over and I'll be like, I can't remember if Dad can have something, and I'll go to ask him and he'd be like, he'll just look at my mum. I'm just like, you should know
this is you. Like, this is your body.
Yeah, exactly. Or like she'll know like whatever, because it's the amount of sodium and potassium that are in things, and she knows that like, you know, what percentage it is. So like if you know, she can see the back of a package, she can figure out if he can have it or not. But like if you handed him something, he would just give it to her. And obviously that is very much their generation too, like the boomer generation. But it's just so crazy. I'm like, this is you. You're the one that has to go to dialysis 3 days a week. You should know this stuff, Dad.
And I think that's, you know, like with us, when it came to the allergy stuff, I think some of it's just like left over from our parents' generation, because that's how it always was.
Yeah.
And then the boys kind of got raised that way. I was just telling somebody the other day, I was like, my son is not going to grow up the same way that like even my husband was raised. No, you can do the dishes too. You can also clear the table. You can, you know, all of those things. I'm like, you can be mindful of other people and help out and not be fucking useless.
Like, I don't know about you, but like with my mum's generation, my mum, I would say she is a feminist. I would consider her a feminist, but her specific brand of feminism is very much like, well, men are stupid and we can't trust them to take care of themselves or control themselves, right? Sort of thing. It's like this weird, like boomer sort of brand of feminism, where as like any opportunity that I get where men get, you know, offended that you say something about men, it's like, I'm not talking about you. If you're offended, then maybe I am talking about you. But if I'm saying that men can't control themselves, if you can control yourself, that is on you, and it's because you're an adult, and I'm not talking about you.
This conversation isn't about you.
Know what I mean? Yes. And like, I do believe that men are adults and they do have their own ability to take care of themselves, take care of a family, do absolutely everything that we were just listing out that women can do. And they should be empowered to be just as good and just as involved in their family life as women are. And like, we shouldn't expect any less of them, because they're not fucking stupid. Right. It's just that they can be socialized in a way where they don't have to worry about certain things.
That's the biggest thing, is that they were socialized to not have to do certain things. Well, you and I have talked about it, where I'm like, because like my husband and I have had conversations where I'm just like, would you go to work and say, well, I don't know how to do that?
Yeah.
No, you would figure it out. You would ask people, you would do stuff. Like, that excuse doesn't work at home. You can't tell me, well, I don't know how to chop an onion. Well, fucking figure it out.
Yeah, the way I did.
Yeah, exactly.
The way so many other people did. There's definitely been a rise of like Tradwife and like, so Tradwife stands for traditional wife, for anybody who's like completely new to this. So it's like this movement that's on like social media where women are saying, well, actually, what if I don't want to be a girl boss. So like the girl boss era was very much when Emily and I were in our 20s, and it was like, you can do it all, and you can be like the CEO, and you can, you know, still be girly and still be feminine, but also still be really assertive and like dominate in the corporate world and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas then there was sort of a response to that, which is now the Tradwife movement, where it's women going, well, actually, what if I don't want to work? And what if I don't want to like spend all my days laboring under capitalism, which is also very fucking valid too.
Yeah, all of it's
and I
valid.
totally get that as well.
But
yeah.
I don't like that the Tradwife thing is kind of a response to all these stupid little boys on the internet being like, men don't like women who XYZ.
Yes.
Men don't like it when you're assertive. Men don't like it, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, maybe you don't like it. And if you don't like it, like maybe just like adjust your attitude a little bit. I understand everybody has their like you and I were talking about, where it's like, I'm kind of all over the place and you're more, let's stay focused. Let's do this. And I think there can be in relationships, it is helpful to kind of have the partner who's kind of towards one end of the spectrum and the other one who's on the other way, because you can kind of pull each other towards the middle.
Yeah, it's complementary to each other, you know?
But like, there is an abusive aspect to wanting somebody who's like completely submissive.
Yeah, it is a power thing. And I do think it comes from the girl boss thing. And it also comes from this whole thing of like, because women have, you know, they have jobs, they are working towards equal pay, there's still a wage gap, they own their own property, they drive themselves, they do all of this stuff that they used to have to rely on men to do. There is this idea that men, especially young men, don't know their place in the world anymore.
Yeah.
And they want to go back to that, well, my dad and my grandfather knew that they were just supposed to go out and work and provide for their family and be like the breadwinner. And like that was, it gave them a pass to be emotionally neglectful a lot of the time. And B, it was easy. It was, this is the role that I've been given and this is what I do. Whereas now, because things are a lot more equal, there are some men that are stay-at-home dads, or they might not earn as much as their partner. And because masculinity is so tied up in this idea of being the provider and being strong and being authoritative and all of that, when men think that that is being taken away from them, they very much want to riot against it and be like, well, the whole problem is feminism. And we've seen that with, you know, the manosphere and the Louis Theroux documentary that everybody's been talking about, with these like sad, scared little men who just really want to have a purpose.
Yeah.
And to put their foot down and say, well, I have the power, and they think women are the easiest things to dominate. So that's exactly the first place they go.
Yeah. I'm like, find a fucking hobby, dude. Like, find something that makes you feel purpose other than trying to dominate another person. It's just so weird to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I
don't get not wanting to
occurs.
Be side by side in a partnership instead of like above the other person.
It's weird and like funny, like as much as I was like saying about my dad and the gender roles with my parents, my dad said something. It was like what do you call it? Like a family dinner that we had, and like Ewan was there, and he had clocked this before I saw anybody saying this. This was like, must have been like 8 or 9 years ago. And he basically said, he was like, well, back in my day, women sort of had to get married because they couldn't do X, Y, and Z. So now if a woman gets married, it's because she wants to and because she found somebody that she likes.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's exactly it. Like, if you find a woman that wants to marry you and she's a feminist, you must be a really good fucking person.
Yeah.
You know?
There's like been a quote going around on the internet, and it's something about
the women who hate men the most have the best husbands or something like that.
That one.
Yeah. That's exactly, it's so true.
Yeah.
Because it's like we have a certain standard for them, and we know what like positive masculinity is.
Yeah. Because like, even I have friends who I'm like, you didn't say anything to him about what he just did? They're like, no, I just like, no, I don't want to start an argument, blah, blah, blah. And then my one friend was like, She's like, I wish I were more like you. You just don't put up with shit. And honestly, that speaks to his character as well. Because I'm like, I know you can do better. You aren't stupid. You're not incompetent. Like, you know how to do these things. Be better. Yeah.
I married you because I know you're not a fucking loser.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what I expect from you. Yeah, so like it is a response to capitalism and the very much we don't get the same benefits out of working as many of the women who fought for the right to work would have had. Yeah. Like you don't get like a job for life really anymore. You don't get like this financial security. You can get laid off at any moment, and also you don't get to reap the rewards of like your wage actually buying you a good life. Yeah. So I can get why people are saying like what the fuck am I even doing this for? Yeah. So like you just want to like, you're like, maybe I do just want to stay home and go to Pilates and drink matcha and not worry about finances or spreadsheets or anything like that. Like I get it. I totally get it. But like it's not an either or situation. Yeah. And I think the main issue that you and I have with it is very much a conservative far right coded movement. Yeah. And it is trying to keep women barefoot and pregnant, trying to get them to give up their bodily autonomy, trying to get them out of the workforce, and trying to stop them voting.
And trying to keep them out of college.
Yes.
You don't want women to have higher education? Oh, right, because then they don't want to go along with your bullshit.
Yes. And this isn't new either, so...
Do you realize that the face of a people is formed by the family? The family receives both its outward and inward characteristics through the woman. The mother gives her husband and children their home. The motherly spirit is the source of all that is eternal.
Emily is rolling her eyes.
Just as the farmer is deeply bound through the land to the primal forces of nature, a mother receives the rhythm of her life from God's hand. Oh. We want to lead our children, our whole people, back to this primal source of strength. The task of the woman is to replace the spirit of money and of self-interest with the spirit of the mother and the farmer. With this spirit, we women will be able to spread warmth and depth to anywhere that our jobs may place us. You want to know where I got that quote? It's from an article called We Women in the Struggle for Germany's Renewal by Erna Günther. It was published in 1934 in the Frauenwarte, Nazi Party's bi-weekly magazine for women.
Like, that is literally, that could have been made today. Like, that could have been a quote from
really could
one of these
I people. Thought it was. I was like, is this Erica Kirk?
It's such a perfect... Now, the user who posted that was Iliana.Justine on Instagram. And she raises such a good point that literally from Nazi reading materials is exactly what people are pushing today. And yeah, it sounds like Erica Kirk. Like, women should be in the home. Girl, you're on a grief tour. You haven't been home in months.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the thing too. They espouse this, like, stay at home and like rely on your husband. But all these like really famous creators are earning so much money. They're the breadwinners for their families.
Yeah. All these women who are like, women shouldn't have a voice, have a platform.
Yes.
It's like, okay, then how about you sit down, Erica?
Yeah. They reject feminism, but the whole reason that they're even able to sit there with their little microphone and reject feminism is because of feminism. Like, it gets me so heated.
Oh, it's just frustrating. And it's like little clip that you played made me think of how I've been talking to a friend who just had a baby who's just now kind of like opening their eyes to how poorly mothers are treated and like especially postpartum and like how
left behind.
There's so little and there's just so little foundation for people who want to have children to like take care of their children. And when I hear quotes like that, it makes me really irritated because it's like they want you to stay home and be with your kids and stuff like that, but then grocery prices are super high and they don't want to pay living wages and they don't want to have programs set up that help parents stay home. Then like fucking RFK Jr. is trying to be like, well, breast milk is the best milk and stuff like that. Okay, but you make people go back to work after like 6 weeks and then 6 to 12 weeks. And some people aren't even afforded that luxury. Like I used to work with somebody who she had to come back. She was back like 4 days later. And I was like, what the fuck are you doing at work?
It's
And she was
horrific.
like, I can't afford to pay my bills. Yeah. Okay. If you're going to say that like breast milk is the best, you need to set it up so that mothers can be home with their children and they can still afford to pay their bills. And when they go back to work, if they keep wanting to give their kids breast milk, they have pumping breaks. And there's like no pushback on, well, you're like taking a lot of breaks and you're doing a lot of this stuff. Because I know people who've had to stop pumping because their jobs wouldn't allow them to like step away.
And you and I were talking about how like I'm pretty sure it was on Maintenance Phase, or You're Wrong About, one of Michael Hobbs' podcasts. They were talking about how the lobby has come in the US, the lobby has come from the formula companies to not have extended federal paid maternity leave, because they know that these women who are forced to go back to work earlier than they want to will wean their children earlier than they want to, and then they switch to formula, so it makes them more money.
Yeah, and it's so disgusting. And it's so, with my kids, I'm an overproducer, so I produce like a lot of milk. And not only that, but there's like this thing called the letdown, which is like, usually your child has to kind of like suck for a little while, and then there's like the letdown where the milk will start to flow. Mm-hmm. Mine is like, you touch it, it's gonna just like spray like a geyser.
Yeah.
And because of that, I was like drowning my kids.
Oh.
And so I had to pump. And even like pumping when I was staying home was like such a fucking task.
Yeah.
I can't imagine trying to like go and work and also keep on top of your pumping schedule. And then you have to like pack your pump, and you have to try to refrigerate it and pack a cooler to bring it home, and like all that stuff. It's just like,
yeah,
it's insane.
I have another video here because the whole like feminine roles, masculine roles thing is being pushed a lot by the Heritage Foundation, who is responsible for Project 2025, for anybody who has not been keeping up. And then they released that like other horrific document like recently, which is basically about trying to get educated women to stop voting, and like, you know, that thing that you and I were both sharing parts of. This is a woman speaking. Who is this woman? Marguerite Bowling, Heritage Senior Communications Manager, talking about dating. And she has like
try to see it as we're all created equal. And I think women have been so focused on we have to gain all this ground from men that we've sort of, I think, lost direction in some way. It's almost like we're trying to replace men. So I think that to me, I really want to take the emphasis off and just look at, does everybody have an equal playing field when it comes to opportunities? And then I think for women, we need to celebrate our uniqueness and our femininity. I think that's sometimes downplayed or overly exaggerated, but I think we just need to be our authentic selves. Don't be afraid to make connections, to get married, and to have children. I think there's such a push to have this established career first, but really, like, your career can fit into your family life.
You're the guys that are trying to make that so hard.
Do whatever the fuck you want. If you want a career, have a career. If you want to have babies, have babies. If you want to have babies and a career, do it. Do whatever you want.
And they are the literal people that are making that impossible. They're making it so hard for women to go back to the workplace and like, to go on maternity leave and like to have a career that will pay them enough to be able to have children and support children. Like, you can't ask women to do that when they don't have the means to do it. And you're the people that are actively stopping that.
Yeah.
Like this whole like cognitive dissonance it's just mind blowing to me. And like there's women that are just so exhausted by like just the pressures of capitalism and the pressures of having to be participating in the workforce and to, you know, look after your own healthcare, because so many things are trying to fucking poison you, and they're trying to keep up with all of this stuff. And then they fall into that because it all sounds so lovely. And it sounds like, you know, actually, you don't have to think about this. There's a man that can do all that for you.
Right.
And he'll pay for everything. You just have to give away all your rights.
Right. And that's what, like with the manosphere stuff, they're very obviously going after a certain brand of young man. The like disenfranchised, the ones who want to feel like they belong, and the ones who want to feel like they have power over something and stuff like that. When it's like, I could say for the majority of women, they don't want an asshole who thinks they're subhuman. It is very scary because apparently Gen Z are largely falling into this trap.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to feel hope for the future, but I honestly just feel scared for it now because I'm like,
yeah,
we've all fought so hard to get to certain places and to be, I don't know, just like that fucking Marguerite. You can be an equal and still be like a good mom.
Yeah.
And still be nurturing to your family. And like this brings up that kind of like divine feminine when like, I know a lot of people talk about like feminine rage and stuff like that. Feminine rage has a purpose.
Yeah.
It's not just being rageful just to be rageful because you're a woman. It's having rage and directing it in appropriate ways.
Yeah.
And directing it in ways that will actually accomplish things. Kind of like I was saying with my kids, when like certain things will happen and I have to kind of have an inner monologue with myself, where I'm just like, is this true danger? Does this require actually like starting an argument over? Or is this one of those things where it's just like, you know, stay calm. Your children are like largely okay.
Yeah.
It might be an interaction that pisses you off, but so it's all about like the divine feminine to me does bring up the word rage, but appropriate rage.
Yes. And it's usually on behalf of like an injustice or an indignity or something that's been perpetuated upon somebody who is more vulnerable. And that's a lot of where feminine rage comes from. Whereas I feel like a lot of times, and how it's portrayed, masculine rage can come from a sense of entitlement and a sense of feeling like they have missed out on something. And women can have masculine rage too, but it's just these like gendered ideas of it. And they like, I can talk about like where the actual wording has come from too.
Well, there's that book, I know I've told you about it probably like 100 times. It's called Rage Becomes Her. And I think that's like a super important read, basically for everybody. And she starts the book with this anecdote about how when she was a kid, they had these really fancy plates. And like the kids weren't allowed to touch the plates and stuff like that. And then one day she just saw her mom throwing the plates like off the balcony. And her mom was just like fucking pissed about something. But she, like, didn't speak about it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, so many women are treated so poorly. It's like, you just get fed up.
Yeah.
And we don't want, like, the misdirected rage. It's really annoying to me that when women are angry, it's seen as a problem. And that's what the book talks a lot about. My mom and I actually had a conversation about it. Because she was like, honestly, like, women are more emotional. And I was like, do you see anger as an emotion?
Yeah.
She kind of like thought about it, and I was like, how many men are like just very angry and express a lot of anger? And she was quiet, and I'm just like, anger is an emotion.
And it's their default emotion. Like, it's their emotion, their default reaction to confusion, to fear, to actual rage.
Yeah. Well, like, Medardo will be like, he knows his dad is getting anxious when his dad starts getting like pretty pissed off about stuff.
Right. Yeah.
He's like, that's when I start knowing that my dad is anxious, because he'll get like, he'll start getting irritated and he'll start kind of like snapping at people and stuff like that. He's like, I've learned enough to know that that's just kind of how it manifests. And that's how it is with like a lot of men. Depression, all those things.
Yeah.
And that's a disservice to our men, is to show them that like the only way they can express emotions is through anger.
I thought it was interesting, like talking about like feminine traits and masculine traits, and it actually came up in Megan's and my astrology episode, because a lot of astrology talks about being in your masculine and being in your feminine, and not to reduce it all down to it being like a woo-woo, like tradwifey moon ritual sort of thing, which 100% I love a moon ritual. It is a really cool aspect of that. But at the same time, these do have roots in actual theology and in Hinduism, Buddhism, world religions. And that's why, like, how it's been twisted now by white people to talk about giving up your actual rights is just like, it's so aggravating.
Yeah.
And I found an article just speaking about it. I'll have all of everything that I'm talking about and anything that I've played linked in the show notes like I normally do. And they talked about how it's not body parts or reproductive function that leads to femininity, because also your ability to be a mother or your desire to be a mother is not a marker of your femininity. Like, it does not mean that you're any more or less feminine. It's also, as I mentioned, very gender normative, bioessentialist, and it excludes a lot of trans people who are incredibly femme presenting and they embrace everything feminine that there is in the world. So to disregard people like that just because you don't think that they fit your very narrow view of femininity and because they maybe can't bear a child, that's like really problematic.
This makes me think of there's like an extended family member. Well, they're a partner of an extended family member, and they're a trans man. And what's really weird is I met them not knowing they were trans, and there was nothing about them that made me think that they were trans.
Yeah.
Like, they're very much like male presenting. They have like the deeper voice, all of those things, like facial hair, everything that you would like associate with a man.
Yeah.
And it was really weird because I kept wanting to call him her.
Really?
And like, really strangely, I was kind of like, what the hell's going on?
It's like,
why do I keep
you
being
thought you were
like,
having like a brain fart or something that like...
Yeah. And then just because this person is just has like a very, like a warmth, like a very like nurturing kindness, like very caring for others.
Yeah.
And then when I found out they were trans, I was like, oh, that is so weird, because they grew up socialized.
Right.
Feminine. You know, and probably more like caring for others and nurturing, and they have like siblings that they cared for and things like that.
Yes.
And I'm just like, that's so weird that I picked up on this, like, they very much presented as a man, but they had this sort of like kindness to them that we don't really...
That is, basically that is bullied out of men. A lot of men as they're growing up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is very sad.
Yeah. It was just like such a weird thing. I was like, oh, whoa, like that's crazy that there can be such a huge difference with what we expect from like our boys and our girls growing up.
Yeah. Like, going back to where like the term divine or sacred feminine comes from, it's not actually supposed to have anything to do with gender. The feminine and the masculine are not singular and siloed energies. Instead, they exist in balance. For example, in ancient Chinese philosophy, yin and yang are a balance between receptive and productive, introspective and extrospective, feminine and masculine, but the two energies depend on one another. And if you know if you grew up in the 90s, you know what the yin and yang symbol looks like. Yeah. Everybody knows what it looks like. Like the black...
You probably had it on a piece of jewelry
exactly,
or something.
On a little choker with a dolphin beside it.
Yeah, I definitely had a yin yang ring.
Yeah. But like, it's, if you examine that, like how the shapes swirl around each other and like they enclose aspects of each other, like the little dots, like that's a very good manifestation of like what divine feminine and divine masculine energy is supposed to be. That you have these sides and you should try to have them imbalanced. And imbalanced? No, you should try have them in balance.
In balance.
Yes, not imbalanced. And it's similar to like the sun and the moon, and like when we're talking about astrology and that form of divination, like how you have your sun and your moon and your rising signs, and that like all of them, when you add them together, is supposed to explain your personality, and it gives you your traits and what you seek from the world and what you present to the world, which is it's interesting. But this was the idea behind divine feminine and divine masculine energy. It's not I'm going to stay home in a sundress and bake banana bread, and then my husband will come in and kiss me on the shoulder and everybody thinks that we're amazing, like, because that's the TikTok version of it.
Keep having babies.
Yeah.
And all these people with like breeding kinks on the internet is very upsetting.
Absolutely. I mean, not to kink shame, but like keep me out of it.
Not kink shaming anything, but like dang. Because there was a woman who was talking about like her husband. She's like, yeah, it's only like 6 weeks postpartum, and he just like is already talking about, like, oh, he can't wait to have another baby with me. And she thinks it's a compliment. Oh. And I'm like, he's treating you like you're a cow.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't even treat cows that way.
Exactly.
Like, just let yourself recover and, like, you know, I know this is hilarious coming from me right now. But it's just like...
Yeah, we have not mentioned it so far, but Emily is currently expecting.
Yeah, again, but for the final time. And I swear to God, I fucking mean that shit. Because I was telling Neve before we started recording that we keep being like, yep, third one, but this is definitely the last. And then people keep being like, no, don't say that. And we're like, no, we mean it.
That's literally just like a lead on of like the women who say that they're child free by choice, and people go, you haven't met the right guy yet. And people are like, I'm literally a lesbian. Like,
right.
And my wife doesn't want a kid either. Like, stop trying to force your like structures upon people. They don't need it.
Yeah.
But
right.
Speaking of pregnancy and all of that, I found this like right before we got on mic, and I was like, ooh, Emily will love this. Obviously, a big thing that we keep seeing coming up with like feminine energy and the divine feminine is intuition. And it's also why we were tying it together with divination for this episode. But I found an article, and now it's from 1996, but it's called Intuition as Authoritative Knowledge in Midwifery and Home Birth. They did a study of home birth midwives and talked about how they use their intuition in delivering babies.
That's so cool.
So fucking cool.
It's like everything I love.
Exactly. You'll get the link anyway. For the thing. Now it is from 1996, so a little bit of it is a little bit, the stuff that they're referencing is a little bit outdated, but I just thought it was so interesting because they actually had American Nurses Association, so their 1994 Charter of Ethics, or their core values, actually listed intuition as one of the values that they expect midwives to have for making decisions when it came to like childbirth. Which is super fucking, that's crazy. Like that they respected their judgment that much.
And that reminds me of the thing, you know, when they say like, be smarter than your doctor.
Mm-hmm.
It's like sometimes you know that something's wrong and somebody's not listening to you and you have to follow that voice.
Yeah. And being assertive in that context, that's not a masculine thing. That is like literally like feminine nurturing. Like it's, if we were trying to stay on the binary, like you would have to go get your husband to advocate for you, you know, when you are perfectly able to do so yourself. I'm not talking about if you're like completely indisposed, you know?
Yeah.
So it's so reductive to have this stuff. Just try and encourage women to defer to somebody who A, doesn't know their body as well as they do, because who can know your body?
For real.
And B, somebody who will never have to go through childbirth.
Yeah. Well, we just had, we had Medardo's cousin and his wife over last night for dinner. But we got onto the topic of like how men's pain and stuff is treated way differently than women's is. Mm-hmm. And how like my anxiety it was in 2019. My anxiety was like peak. It was the worst it has ever been in my entire life. I couldn't be alone. I couldn't, like, I was truly not functioning.
Right.
I had to stop working. Like, it was just really bad. Even when I was, like, that bad. And I got taken to the hospital multiple times by ambulance because my panic attacks got so bad that my entire body just, like, locked up. And I thought I was, like, seizing. And when this happened, my doctor very, very reluctantly gave me 5 Xanax. 5 tablets of Xanax, which is like, you know, and they were like, use it in an emergency, which pretty much every day with me was an emergency at that point because, like I said, I wasn't functioning. But anyway, Medardo went to see a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist gave him, you know, he has anxiety. It definitely wasn't anywhere near crippling. They gave him 30 Xanax.
Oh my God.
I was like, wow, okay.
Jesus Christ.
Show me how much you just don't believe women in their fucking pain. And
it's such a classic example that I'm like, I'm not even shocked It's just, I'm shocked at the number. I'm not shocked that they took him more serious. I'm shocked at the literal number of pills that they prescribed him. Like, that's crazy compared to you when you were going through that.
Yeah, and I was telling them about how he was just in the ER a few weeks ago with gastritis, which is like inflamed stomach lining. And which I guess can be very painful. I don't know, I haven't had it. But like they like brought him back and gave him morphine right away. Like, we're trying to make sure he's all good. I've been in the ER with an actively like rupturing cyst that was like bleeding out, and I didn't even get pain meds.
Fuck's sake.
So like last night I made the joke. I was like, yeah, he goes in. He's like, oh, my tummy hurts. And they're like, let's give you some morphine.
Oh my God.
It's so sad.
Yeah. And like, it does go back to like your midwifery episode where it was, you know, you had like women who through experience were like midwives, and they had this like very specific and specialized medical knowledge, and it was just very much dismissed because
and they tried to introduce herbs and stuff like that, and like those herbs were getting outlawed, and then they're like, let's try a chainsaw.
Yeah.
Like,
as if
my
that's
God,
better.
Yeah, the men are inventing all these like insane tools to try to pry a woman's body open.
Let's have her push on her back, even though that's not ideal, like, and it's not helpful to her. Like, it's so crazy. And yeah, like from that like article about the midwives, they talk about like how they make like split-second decisions, but like they very much pride themselves upon being able to do that, and because of the connection that they have with the women that they're taking care of. And I just thought it was such a beautiful acknowledgement of like, there are certain things that can't be taught, and that you should be able to, or that you should be allowed to tap into. Hopefully it was, you know, as a complement to a scientific and a very safe form of healthcare that, like, you know, everybody is entitled to. But yeah, to have that complement and like women knowing more just deep in their core of, really beautiful.
And that ties into, you know, people like with the herbalism stuff. And you and I have talked about it probably like way back in like our folk cures episode.
Yeah.
I very much believe that the medical system is sort of like a yin and yang.
Right.
Pharmaceuticals do have a place.
Right.
But they don't have a place 100%. I think balancing pharmaceuticals and maybe like herbalism and, you know, physical activity like yoga, like stuff like that. It's like you can find ways to solve your problems with a balance.
Yes. And if you have the means, like, why not try multiple things? You know, if nothing is hindering you and if it's not having a bad like outcome, then I definitely think it's worth it. And as well, like, use that intuition that you have in yourself to think like, is there something else that I could be doing?
Right.
We do need to lead into the other part of this episode.
Right.
Which is using your intuition, and the most practical way that we think is divination, which has come up a few times, right? We've talked about it like...
Yeah, well, I feel like...
Especially in our witchcraft miniseries.
Oh, I thought you meant like in this episode. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it ties into like a lot of things that we're talking about, and I feel like divination and intuition kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, because anybody who follows our Instagram or just follows me on Instagram, you know that I've been like trying to get into tarot reading more. I want to do a course and have somebody who is, you know, really knowledgeable actually teach me. But what I've been doing is, well, apart from just buying very pretty decks for myself, the latest tarot deck I got is the Wanderer's Tarot. And I was just looking up how do you break in a new deck? A couple of different things. But one of the things that they said was try to use it consistently for like 30 days so that you can get to know the deck and the deck gets to know you. So I do a little card pull every morning. Part of my like, before I start working, just to like transition into actually concentrating and not like trying to keep up with messaging people and social media and all of that, to just try breathe and like just see like a card pull of what I'm going to do for the day. So we're going to do a couple of different kinds of divination in this episode.
Hi everyone. Emily here.
And Neve over here. We're just popping in right before the ads to let you know that a rating, review, or recommendation is like a magic growth potion for your favourite podcast. As an indie podcast, we really do rely on word of mouth and people recommending us to each other to get on the right algorithms and right feeds. So if you're following us on social media, please take the time to throw us a little tag, show us what you're doing while you listen. We're nosy, we love that. Or if you don't want anything to do with that whole mess, just a rating or a review will do. The links to all of our socials are in the link tree, which is in the episode description. That includes our Patreon, which is where we upload everything early and ad-free, including some fun extras for paid tier members.
Go check it out, and fuck yeah, folklore.
So I'm going to do a card pull, and bear with me because I'm going to have to look up what it means because I don't know anything yet. And also this deck is weird, like all of the symbols are different, like swords are knives, pentacles are cups. You know, you'll get to know one deck and then they've changed it. So that's, yeah.
I feel like tarot has a big, because like all these people are like, oh, I want a spell to make money or something like that. Like with kind of like more like witchcraft stuff.
Yeah.
And like, what should I use for that? Like, do you use this? I've heard different sources say different things and stuff like that. And what's really interesting to me, and this is kind of like the witchcraft that I do, it's like, what does your intuition say?
Yeah.
Like, does your intuition say to do a spell with, like, rosemary or something like that?
Yeah.
And it's like, if you're feeling like rosemary is going to help me towards more money, helping you get more money or whatever, then like follow that. Don't listen to what somebody else says.
Yeah.
And I think tarot's the same, where it's kind of like, yeah, you can have a chart that's like, oh, the death card means XYZ. But also, how does it make you feel?
Yeah. And I've talked a little bit before about using tarot as a form of introspection, just using it to like check in with myself. It's not that I so much think that like, oh, whatever I say is going to come true and it's definitely right and all that. It's more that I'm like, okay, well, how is that making me feel? So like, what is this telling me about myself? Like, what am I drawn to? What's meanings associated with this card would I like to apply in my life? You know?
Right, interpreting it in a way that makes sense to you, instead of being like, this means a lover will fall ill or something like that.
It's like, I'm going to empty my bank account because I got a weird like 3-card spread. You know, that's not me. You know.
Yeah.
It's good. It's like a shortcut to get to your intuition. I feel the same way about it as I feel about like when I look up dream meanings.
Yeah.
Like there may not be any like scientific thing, or I'm not psychic or anything like that, but like, what's bothering me? What am I dreaming about? Like, why did I think of that person who's no longer alive that I haven't seen in years? You know, what do I associate that person with?
I had a dream a couple nights ago and I was like, holy symbolism. Like, it just felt like there was like a weasel that was like attacking me.
Whoa.
There was a tornado. There was like all this stuff where I was just like, that feels very symbolism heavy.
Yeah.
Like all these things mean something.
And as well, I think because you're an artist too, you probably get more symbolism in your dreams because you like your subconscious would know what things are symbolic of. You know what I mean?
And the visuals.
Yeah. Like you would know if you saw rabbits in your dream, you know, like what your subconscious is probably like fixated on, for example.
The rabbit was like, you're pregnant again.
Your grandmother's a witch. Throwback. Okay, so I'm doing my card pull. Okay. So if you can see. So I can't see. It is the 7 of Stones. So in this deck, the stones are pentacles in a normal deck. In this particular deck, stones represent what is harvested and sown in the earth and associated with economy and material wealth. So my intuition is trying to tell me something about my wealth. And the number 7 in numerology is related to conflict or struggle. So there's a conflict or struggle within my financial world.
My immediate reaction is the fact that this whole conversation has been us angry about how women are treated unfairly, and like a big aspect of it is like in the workforce.
Yeah.
Of how they want women to like stop working and stop providing financially and things like that.
Yeah.
That was just my like initial reaction.
And I'm just going to look up my favorite website for teaching me tarot is Labyrinthos. I just really like the way they lay out things and the way they categorize everything.
It's a cool name too.
And so 7 of Pentacles upright, which is what I had, is harvest, rewards, result, growth, progress, perseverance, patience, and planning. So within my financial world, hopefully it means that all the money that I'm saving and not spending on myself is starting to pay off. For finances, you may be reaping the fruits of your labor right now with the 7 of Pentacles. Things that you have been incrementally putting effort and time into can finally be showing progress. Before you know it, you'll be likely to find that you'll be able to enjoy the rewards, which is pretty cool because I got paid this week. Like, I get paid monthly. It was the first time in a while that, like, after all my savings and everything, that I wasn't like a sad low amount of money in my current account. I think it's like telling me that like my hard work and actually financial planning and actually trying to, you know, be responsible with my money is paying off.
Nice.
Yeah. And I always like to look up the actions one because they always do what this card pull means as actions. So this card surfaces when it's time to practice patience and reflect on your efforts, which I do think also ties into what we were saying about finances and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is how you can use your feminine intuition in a positive way. Look at your finances. Make sure you're taking care of yourself and that you're, you know, I keep seeing like absolutely heartbreaking videos of like a lot of them, like unfortunately are Mormon women who are just going through a divorce and they realize they have absolutely nothing to their name. Their husband had like nothing like signed in their name, no bank account of their own and all of that. And that's just like, it's so crazy.
It's very sad. Yeah. And that's why a lot of people, well, like historically women, have felt like they're unable to leave marriages because they're like, well, I have nothing.
And why they say it was a tradition for women to gift other women jewelry because that was like their runaway money. Because if you have a precious stone, then you always have something you can sell if you need to get out of a bad situation.
Or the grandmothers who would be like, make sure you have like a sock in the drawer that has money in it, like just stuff like that, which is very sad because you know, I mean, it is good to have a fallback, a safety plan just in case. Mm-hmm. But just historically that women have had to tell other women like, make sure make sure you have things that will help you get out of a situation that you don't want to be trapped in.
I've seen people say that like incel like manosphere guy thing is like talking about trying to get women the way women who are like their grandmothers, whereas like my grandmother was a real woman and all that. And it's like, yeah, the reason those women don't exist because our grandmothers told us not to be like that.
Yeah.
Our grandmothers warned us against that. So
right.
They knew. So yes, the next one we're going to do is, if you guys listen to our Pine Cones, which you absolutely should, it's where we do our little whimsical short episodes. We did one on pregnancy superstitions since Emily is with child currently.
Very with child. Like, I just want to make a statement.
Please do.
I'm less than 2 weeks from my due date, so I am very pregnant.
Honestly, I was fully expecting to get a text this morning and be like, I'm in labor and I can't record today.
I'm actually going to the hospital. I was worried about that. I was like, baby, you got to stay in there.
Yeah.
Me and Neve have to get the 50th episode out before I'm on this like 7-year hiatus. But yeah, my statement that I wanted to make initially, so like I made the whole announcement like I'm going on a hiatus just because I'm trying to like study and like do all this stuff, and that was the initial reason.
Yeah, you weren't lying. That was true.
It was all true. And it was very shortly after I made that announcement that I found out that magically I got good old-fashioned pregnant, which was a surprise because both of my alive children, or Earth side as they call them, My Earthside children are both IVF babies.
Yeah.
And I found out I was pregnant with this one when my youngest was 8 months old.
Oh my god. You know, anyone I tell that to is like how young your kids are. They're like, ooh. Literally all of them.
Yeah, we're
say
drowning.
That. Yeah.
I'm fucking drowning.
Yeah.
Which is why I have not been on the podcast.
Yeah. I also gave Emily like not a stern talking to this week, but I was just like, you have my permission. You can throw a tantrum. You can like put your foot down and like ask for what you want because you're so pregnant and you have 2 toddlers.
So pregnant.
Taking
care of 2 toddlers. This baby's due date is my oldest 3rd birthday.
I couldn't remember. I was talking to Ewan about this and I was like, oh, and she's due on Emily's daughter's 3rd birthday. And I was like, no, wait, that can't be right. It must be her 4th birthday. And then I was counting back and I was like, oh no, it's her 3rd.
Yeah, it is the 3rd. And she's my oldest. So I'm going to have one that's 3, one that's like barely 1.5, and then a newborn.
Yeah.
So if I'm not on the podcast for a little bit, I'm just like a little busy.
Yeah. But in saying that, we might as well take the opportunity because Emily is so pregnant. In our pregnancy superstitions episode, we talked about how there is a method from way back in the day of divining the birth sex of a baby by hanging a pendulum over the baby bump. So we thought we'd try it out because Emily knows the sex of her baby that is about to be born. So we thought we'd try it out and see if the pendulum method matches up with what this. Now I'm hoping that your like subconscious doesn't like move the pendulum in the correct way. Do you know the direction? Because I was going to say, if I don't tell you and then you tell me if it's going...
I don't know the direction.
Okay.
So if you know, don't tell me.
Yeah. So I'll just say if one is like back and forth versus circle, that's that one is associated with one gender and the other is the other gender.
Oh, so it's back and forth versus a circle?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Whatever. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So a lot of this is saying that like it should be the dad doing this, but we'll just do it.
I'm the mom and the dad. No.
Yeah. I'm the dad. Okay.
If we're speaking about divine feminine.
So you can ask your pendulum, is my child a boy or a girl? So you can ask that. Just when you're...
And then just see what happens.
Yeah.
And I hold it like over my belly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. She's doing it.
Okay. It's not technically a pendulum, but it's the goddess Isis, and she's like motherhood and stuff like that. So,
yeah, I don't think you could get a better pendulum than that. So
right, okay. Is my baby in my belly a boy or a girl?
I confirm she is not moving her hand.
No, it's going back and forth, like towards me and away from me.
So it's back and forth, not a circle.
No.
Okay.
Is it wrong?
It is incorrect.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It almost felt like it was right because it started swaying like pretty fast.
Imagine if the scan was wrong after all of that.
I've had like thoughts about that.
Yeah. Because you hear about it happening like very rarely.
Yeah.
No,
I think... Because, I had the blood test done, which can be wrong. Because sometimes it just doesn't pick up enough of the DNA or whatever. Mm-hmm. But then I had the ultrasound where they're looking at genitals.
They can see.
So
the
pretty sure.
Appendage or not appendage. So for anybody who wants to do that at home, a circular swing of the pendulum means the baby is a girl, and a straight line means it's a boy. And Emily's was wrong.
and mine was wrong.
Damn it, I really wanted that to work out.
Unless my baby ends up being trans.
Oh, maybe. That would be such a fun thing to tell them if they came out as translators. Like, well, we did a pendulum test
on a Rowan and Pine episode.
You can listen to it.
Yeah.
That would be so funny. Oh my god.
That would be funny. The biggest callback ever.
Yeah. And Okay, so divination method number 3 is, I know nothing about this. Emily like sent me a message. She was like, do you know anything about bibliomancy? And I was like, no, but it sounds spooky.
So for bibliomancy, so you do this with your eyes closed.
Okay.
You take a book of your choosing, close your eyes, open to a random page, and then point to a spot on the page. And the spot that you point to should be sort of like answering a question that you have.
This is so, I can't remember if I said it to you like when you first told me about it, but it sort of reminds me of when I was studying in school. There was this prayer that my mom gave me where you would say the prayer and then you get your textbook and you flip, and wherever your textbook opens, that was definitely going to come up on your test. And it did work, but like, I guess it also, that was probably something that we covered a lot in class, so that was probably why. The book
I
was
love
well
how you
worn.
and I are just trying to spread like the logic behind it.
Well, we can't help it.
Because
Yeah.
we're
like,
Capricorns.
I know. It's fun. So, it's eyes closed, ask a question, flip to a random page in the book, point, and that's the answer to a question. Do I have that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look at me taking on verbal instructions. I didn't know I could do that. So just for reference, we are using the same book. Our own copies of the same book.
And
So
the book is Women Who Run with the Wolves by Clarissa Pinkola Estes.
Because we thought it was very apt for this podcast.
Yeah, because it's the like subtitle is Myths and Stories of the Wild Woman Archetype.
Right. So if you want to know about Divine Feminine, check out that book because there's a lot of it in that. I mean, also, slight criticism, it is also a very narrow definition of feminism or of femininity.
Right.
But I do love the idea behind it. And I love
this came out in... Yeah. It's been out for a while.
Mm-hmm. And there's an endorsement on the back from Maya Angelou, so obviously that's going to be good.
First hardcover edition, June 1992.
Oh wow, yeah, exactly. This is like
it's a bit
before
old.
third wave feminism, you know.
Something that you said, it was on like, I think I must have texted you about it.
You did,
because it was on your episode with you, and the first episode that I was not on. You're like, I always get the waves mixed up.
I do though, because I'm always like, okay, first wave was like the suffragettes, second wave was like Germaine Greer and like the women in like the 70s and sexual liberation and all that, and then third wave is like us, like the 2000s, right, or the 2010s.
I don't know, because I also
pretty sure
I don't get my waves right.
Yeah, I think we're into a fourth wave, which is the post girl boss era. I saw somebody say that, so I don't even know. I'm not like in academia anymore, so I don't know.
Yeah. I should look it up though. I feel like I should have like a slight grasp on the waves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
the waves of feminism.
My main thing is I feel like a lot of men especially think that it should have ended after first wave because like we should just be happy to have the right to vote and not be beaten up, which is like no. We have a few more rights actually,
for, like,
please.
What we're dealing with right now.
Yeah,
so
and there's plenty of people want to go back to that, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, so should we ask the same question or should we ask separate questions?
What do you think? Should we ask the same question and see how it manifests for the both of us?
We could.
Mm-hmm. So what question should we ask? It's interesting too because I also found an article about how fortune telling and divination has been categorized as an inherently feminine thing, when even going back to like imperialist China, like it was a male and female thing, but the difference was that the men used to get paid for it and the women did not.
Yeah, of course. It's
just like, this is just rinse repeat of everything. Like even, what was the latest one I saw? Like computer coding, that was a completely women's domain until men took it over and started getting paid for it. Like it wasn't a well paid thing because it was like seen as grunt work. It was like just inputting code.
Right.
So then men started doing it, and it was like now it's like one of the best, like software engineering. It's like hugely lucrative.
Yeah. Well, and like the same thing with the herbalism and stuff like that. It's like women were just kind of like the crazy witch at the end of the street.
Beer brewing.
And then men start doing it, and they get paid for it, and then they're called doctors. Pieces of shit.
Yeah, there was like there was a writer called Ulla Koch, Koch, who wrote about Mesopotamian women who used divination. She found that there were very few records of women as professionals in divination because it was a male-dominated sphere, though women weren't seen as experts, and people used to just go to them for divination just like as a hobby thing.
Yeah.
So, right, what are we asking?
Should we go harder on the feminism?
Yeah, actually. So let's see if the direction that we are taking the podcast in, is it the right direction for us?
Yeah.
Feminist, angry political direction, just like this episode has been. Is our feminist pivot the right direction for the podcast? Interesting. So mine is introducing the passage about La Llorona.
La Llorona.
La Llorona. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So mine is introducing that passage and her story, which is she's a female folklore figure.
What is that? What did you exactly point to? Like, what does the sentence say?
It says, "First, I will tell you the general storyline of the great La Llorona." Am I saying that right? Tales?
Llorona.
La Llorona.
Yeah.
And then a most astonishing twist on the story.
Okay. It's interesting.
So that to me sounds like the folklore tale and then your twist on it. So I think it's saying that we are stick to the folklore but also keep the feminist elements. But like folklore should be the focus.
Yeah. Well, and what's interesting to me is like La Llorona is like, I feel it's sort of the story about, it's almost like it's misinterpreted.
Right.
People think she's like this scary, screeching like banshee and she's evil. Mm-hmm. When the story is that she's just wandering crying for her children because like her children had passed away.
Mm-hmm. Right. The misunderstood woman.
Yeah. So I don't know if you can see this. I don't know if it's open to like a poem or what, but it's
like a little body of text, like a centered
it's not
paragraph.
Like a full page of text. Oh, it's called The Wolf's Eyelash. The exact line I pointed to just says, She discerned the brave.
So what is that saying to you? Because I have thoughts.
I don't know. It does feel like it fits.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of like Baba Yaga. It's like people are starting to be like, maybe she's just misunderstood.
Yes.
Maybe this kind of female archetype of the witch is misunderstood because they've been painted as evil and they eat children and all this kind of stuff. But maybe it's just that they rejected society's norms and now that's why they're being painted as evil. Mm-hmm. Because men write the fucking narratives. Yeah. And
I do think that that's both of our things are pointing towards dispelling the popular perception of these figures, this folklore, from our feminist perspective.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's us particularly twisting anything.
No.
It is explaining. It's not us like looking for a meaning that we want. I think it's because I honestly didn't know what it was going to tell us. So.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's an opposite way you could interpret those either.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Because she discerned the brave. It just makes me think of, like shedding light on those who decided to be just whoever they were.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of trying to fit in or, things like that. Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Applied in the way that we're, like, how we interpreted it.
Yeah.
Look at us and our bibliomancy.
Yeah, I like that. I think we picked the right book too.
Yeah.
You picked the right book.
Thank you. What I like about this larger, like that line, I like that line. But what I like about this larger quote is, it says, "And she saw those who were truly kind and went near to them. She found her mate and stayed all the days of her life. She discerned the brave and came close to them. She apprehended the faithful and joined with them. She saw bewilderment under anger and hastened it to soothe it. She saw love in the eyes of the shy and reached out to them. She saw suffering in the stiff-lipped and courted their laughter. She saw need in the man with no words and spoke for him. She saw faith deep in the woman who said she had none and rekindled hers from her own. She saw all things with her lash of wolf, all things true and all things false, all things turning against life and all things turning toward life, all things seen only through the eyes of that which weighs the heart with the heart and not with the mind alone." It kind of feels like everything we've just been talking about.
That sounds like radical empathy.
Yeah.
Knowing that everybody is finding their way and everybody was a child once and everybody has a life of their own and their thoughts and feelings and experiences, and not expecting perfection from people.
Right. And it feels like it very much goes with the divine feminine of being just kind of like you and accepting and having empathy, and you don't have to be super radical. You don't have to. The divine feminine, it's powerful, and it's powerful in ways that are not aggressive. Mm-hmm. It's powerful because it's accepting, because it's nurturing, because it's loving, because it's strength, because it's bravery, etc., etc.
And just because it's not aggressive does not mean it's passive either.
Right.
It's still just as impactful as...
Yeah.
I think kindness is just as impactful as cruelty. And that's what people should be thinking of when they think of the divine feminine, and not just making yourself as small and as unimpactful as possible to make other people feel comfortable.
Yeah, and I have this memory that comes up for me a lot. I had just had my daughter, and not to drag this episode out forever, but I think it was my second Mother's Day with her. But I was driving, and there was a man on the side of the road who was, he was like asking for change or money, or if anybody could spare anything. And I had an unopened bottle of water in my car, and it was like kind of warm that day. So I just was like, I'm sorry I don't have anything for you, but I do have some water. Like, please stay hydrated.
Yeah.
And he was like, thank you so much. Like, we need this too. And happy Mother's Day.
Oh.
And I like drove away like crying, and I feel like I'm gonna get emotional now, because it's just like, I've always seen humanity in other people, but after I had a baby and like caring for the baby and stuff like that, you get this like perspective where it's like, that person was somebody's baby.
Yeah.
And relied on somebody else to care for them. And like, we all should be mothers to everyone. We all should care for each other.
Yeah.
And that was just like a really moving moment for me, where all of a sudden I just was like, I just started seeing everybody as someone's child, no matter how old they are. Because this guy was probably like in his 60s.
Yeah. And
it's just like, just because you're an adult and you're like maybe made some wrong choices, we shouldn't stop caring for you.
Yeah. And that's the whole point. Like, that's what makes us a society. It's not the fear of being prosecuted or the fear of like the shame or whatever it is that people like to think. And we talk about this in criminal justice a lot and in criminology. It's not that, it's giving people the tools to drag themselves out of the darkest place and to nurture themselves and to parent themselves back to a point where they can feel a sense of pride and that they have something to lose, because people who have something to lose are less likely to do things that will hurt other people.
I don't know if I've just fallen into this matriarchy algorithm, but everything I see is we need matriarchy now, which is true. But it talks about how everybody thinks matriarchy favors women, when it's no, matriarchy is a circle, and we put the people, children and babies and those who need us the most, in the center. Yeah. And we all circle them and we take care of them. And that that story makes me think of that, where it's just no, I'm not better than you, but we need something to change where it's not 3 people are at the top and everybody else is beneath them. We need to circle around those who need us.
Yeah. Damn right.
Divine feminine, bitch.
Yes, that's what divine feminine is. Do you want to hear any more misinterpretations of it? So we set the record straight.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys enjoyed this surprise little release.
Our surprise long form 50th episode.
Thank you so much for being with us for 50 plus episodes, because we've done little shorts and different things here and there. And I hope you stick with us for whatever we have coming next.
And even if I'm not here for a little bit, or we have to take a little break, or whatever that means, it's not, we haven't decided this is the end forever yet.
No.
And forever.
Go put some positivity in the world. Watch something with some positive masculinity. Watch The Pit. Watch A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. We're still watching The Pit. We're obsessed. We're debriefing every week.
Oh my gosh.
Watch The Pit. Watch A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Go watch Project Hail Mary. It has Ryan Gosling as a middle school teacher, and he is wonderful in it. Read the book. Listen to the audiobook. It's great. It gives you hope back in the world.
My biggest thing, and I've learned this with having very young children who don't fucking like to listen very often. Sometimes you want to get really angry, and then you just have to stop yourself, correct your brain a little bit, and say, why are they acting this way? Are they acting this way to ruin my life?
Yeah.
Are they acting out of fear? Are they hungry? Are they this? This applies to adults as well.
It does.
Because, and I went to, I called it trauma camp. Their acronym was HALT. HALT. Are you hungry, angry, lonely, or tired? Because sometimes that's the answer. It's am I hungry? Is this why I'm acting this way? And I apply that to other people. And then I take a moment and I go, should I act in anger or kindness? And I act in kindness. And you know how quickly it changes things?
Yeah. No, that's good advice. It's good advice. Because there's a place for anger. There definitely is. And we're not saying never get angry, especially if you can see the world crumbling to bullshit. There's definitely a place for that anger. And use it productively, but also let it be motivated by kindness.
Right.
You're angry because there is no kindness. That's
right.
That's where your anger should come from.
You show people kindness and they'll completely change their attitude, and sometimes it just takes you. You have to be the person to change things. Because if you're getting angry back, then they're going to get more angry, and you're just amping each other up.
And that's what a stupid incel boy would do. We're not going to be those.
But are they hungry, angry, lonely, tired? They're lonely.
Yes.
That's why they're acting this way.
Yes. Emily has cracked it.
Yeah, society has fucked us. So let's all band together and be better and do better. And with that, fuck yeah, divine feminism. Or
fuck
divine,
yeah,
feminine.
Feminism. Fuck yeah, divine feminine. Fuck yeah, feminist folklore. I have been Neve.
And I'm Emily.
Bye.
Bye.